There is a quiet ache that forms when you love someone who never apologizes. It settles in the spaces between conversations, in the pauses where healing should happen but doesn't. And slowly, gently, something inside you starts to dim, not out of anger, but out of exhaustion. Loving someone who never apologizes doesn't break you all at once. It happens quietly, in the small moments where hurt meets silence, and silence becomes the answer you never wanted. You start recognizing the pattern long before you admit it to yourself. How conflict turns into confusion, how your pain becomes a story you tell to an empty room. First, you try to understand. You trace their behavior back to what they've been through, the childhoods built on criticism, the environments where admitting fault meant losing power, the fear that apology equals weakness. You remind yourself that people learn love in different dialects, and some grow up never hearing the language of accountability. Psychology calls it defensiveness, a shield constructed from shame, a mind trained to protect itself from the slightest possibility of being wrong. For some, apology doesn't mean repair. It means exposure, so they avoid it with all the strength they can muster, even if it slowly erodes the people standing closest to them. And this creates a strange conflict inside you. You want to understand them, but you also want to be understood. You care for them, yet you feel yourself shrinking in the places where you shouldn't. There's a tension between empathy and self-erasure, between holding their history and losing your own voice in the process. The turning point often arrives quietly, not with a dramatic argument, but with a simple moment of clarity. The realization that love cannot survive on one person absorbing the impact, and the other avoiding the truth. You begin to see that your softness deserves a landing place, not a battlefield. Healing doesn't mean forcing them to change. It means recognizing the difference between compassion and self-abandonment. It means returning to yourself, to the parts that learned to whisper when they should have spoken, to the boundaries that waited for your permission to exist. And in the end, the lesson is tender but unforgettable. Love is not the absence of conflict. It is the presence of repair. And without repair, even the deepest affection becomes a quiet, aching distance. You can no longer carry alone.